Yo.
Hello, hi Itanchi, hi Mialfa, how is everyone today? Welcome, welcome. I'm Natasha. If you're new here, we do co-working and lots of creative streams. Today I think we're going to be doing a little bit of graphic design, and if I can get it working on stream, like on showing on the camera, I will, but if not, then I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'll give it a try though. Other than that, yeah, we're here to do some co-working. We're here to get some stuff done. I've had a pretty productive day already today. I had some bureaucracy stuff for Italy to do, and I didn't get anything completed, but I did all the steps that I had to do, and so now I just have to wait again for Italy to get back to me. So, you know, but I did the stuff I needed to do, so I'm feeling good about that. You're starting your day? Excellent. Do you have any big plans, or just more of a chill regular day? I'm also super excited because I got my ISBN account with Canada set up, and so I have ISBN numbers for my books now, so I'm excited for that. So we're gonna get some more planners out, and you don't really need an ISBN for planners, but I want to be able to wholesale them to bookstores, and so I thought it might be easier if I did have the ISBNs, and so now they do. Well, they will. Gotta go through and actually, it'll only be on the new ones I publish, which is good because I have one that's just about to go published and it could use it. So exciting times. Stuff is happening, at least a little bit. Usual task list. Excellent. I've got this fruit thing, and I've got some toast with jam here, so I'm excited because I've got some food, some snacky snacks. And then I think I'm meeting the friend I was going to meet yesterday for drinks later, and I guess I should ask her if she's going to have eaten by then. So I should make food or not make food. Let's start the timer though. Nope. Yeah, so I put 2 hours of work on it. What is it? 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. Yeah, that should be about 2 hours of work, and then I might do some graphic design too if I can get it going. But yeah, I think I'm meeting up at 7:30, which is like 3 hours from now, so just putting 2 hours on the screen is a good compromise, I think. Oh, I should have brought my hair clip for eating. But it's a nice day and it's not too windy, so I wanted to come outside. The heck, why is everything refreshing? Oh. I'm like, why am I sitting so far forward? It's because if I lean back, the sun is in my face. So how about I just move this shade, and then that won't be a problem anymore. I had that down because when it's windy, it blows around and I don't want it out, but it's not windy today, so that's much better. I can relax. Oh, that's right. I didn't have my keyboard on my lap because I'm still eating. So I have my food in my lap. Oh. Oh god, my proofreading today is about to become very boring because I've just got to check that a bunch of numbers are in order. It's going to be super fun. I'm very excited about it. If you can't tell. Oh, we're gonna run an ad break so we can minimize pre-rolls. About eating all we can eat of this. It's falling apart on me now. And I've still got some chili left over from last night, so I think I'm gonna make some chili cheese toast for dinner. So that should be nice. I feel like I should look at my to-do list, but like this is definitely one of the things I'm supposed to be working on right now, so that's fine. trying to attract birds to my deck. I've been trying to attract big blue-green parakeets, but those were magpies, but they're beautiful too, and they kind of like looked at me, so I have some like nuts and birdseed out on the ledge over there, and yeah, that was cute because there was one of them, and then another one kind of landed nearby, and they're both just like looking at me, and I'm like, it's okay, you can have the birdseed, it's for birds. The bird seems to think so as well, exactly. Yeah, what I don't want to do is only attract the magpies and then like scare off the green parrot, so I'm not sure, but magpies are at least a step in the right direction. If birds know bird seed is here, then other birds should also be interested. How are you, Circonus? Hope you're having a nice day where you are as well. You're well, just getting your day started. Very nice. I'm in the mid-afternoon where I am, so I got a bit of practical stuff done earlier in the day, and now I'm getting some publishing stuff done, so being productive, which is good. I think I can do this. I don't think I can do it. I've got all these like, it's like a number rolling system in one of these books, like for random chance, and I do not think my brain can handle going through them all to double check that they're in the right order. I think I'm just going to assume that I did it right the first time, and if it's wrong, then that makes it even more random chancey, and it'll give someone something to complain about. Because yeah, I do not think my brain can handle doing that. No, it really can't. I got like seriously 5 pages into it and I went, nope. That is not the type of work I am well equipped to do without a large amount of money being thrown at me. And if there was a large amount of money being thrown at me, I would just pay someone else to do it. So yeah. I hope your day is peaceful and productive as well. Mine's been productive. I guess I wouldn't say it hasn't been peaceful. I just feel like it was stressful because this morning was a lot of stressful things to do, but it was productive. And now it's chill. Now it's nice and chill. If there were a large amount of money thrown at you, you'd be questioning why. See, that's what you have to ask yourself. If you want a large amount of money thrown at you, ask yourself why. What would I do that would convince someone that I deserve a large amount of money? That's the secret to life. That's what I'm trying to do. It's like, well, look at all these cool books. Look at all this cool publishing experience. You could buy books. You could publish books. You could write things. You could do many things. And then throw money at me. And I will help you. Do any people truly deserve a large amount? Okay, so large is relative. Like, does anyone deserve like the billions of dollars the top like 0.0001% has? No. But is there absolutely enough wealth? And I don't mean money, but I mean like created wealth, like the things that we use money to buy and the reason we have money. Is there enough wealth in the world that everyone could be better off than they are? That the majority of people on the planet could be better off than they are now? Yes. Most people could be receiving more wealth in the world if it wasn't so bizarrely unbalanced. Yeah, does a celebrity deserve millions while a janitor provides a daily service that is critical? Well, celebrity is one of those things that people love to rag on, but most people, and there's some who would disagree, but most people don't want to live in a world without celebrities. They love actors. They love singers. They like the work that celebrities do. They like watching movies and they like listening to music. So if someone out there is able to produce a piece of media like a film or a song and become a celebrity, or And this is where people get really weird because they're like, well, internet celebrities don't do anything. It's like, yes, they do. They produce entertaining content. That's why they have followers, because people are entertained by them. So if they're producing something that other people want to pay for, want to watch, what's the difference between a janitor who's doing something that someone wants to pay for? The difference with celebrities is just that they found a way to market it to multiple people at once, right? And that's the difference why I would not choose a job that can only be scaled by my own time labor, like something like a physical job, like a janitor, where your maximum income is related to the maximum hours you can work. Whereas if you become a business owner and your maximum income is related to how many janitors you can hire and how many jobs they can do, now it's not related to that line. Same thing right now, I'm trying to do publishing, because there's no limit to how many books can be sold. There's no time constraint on me. It doesn't matter how many hours I put in compared to how many books are sold. So there's no upper limit. And that's the difference. Some people prefer jobs where it's based on their hours of work, and some people don't. But at the end of the day, there is a very big difference in how much the upper limit of returns can be. And you cannot compare someone who has an upper limit like a physical job versus an upper limit like a celebrity. Yeah, opportunistic people in the right place at the right time control more than they should. Absolutely agreed. I think we need certain regulations that some countries already have, and some countries have for better or worse, and some countries have very little of, like America, in order to kind of work with that. Because yeah, it's all about building a society. If you let the lucky few monopolize everything, they will continue to monopolize everything. You have to have society step in there and be like, hey, so actually, as a society, we would like this to be different. Yeah, celebrities get what they get because people love their reality TV. Exactly. But I mean, that's fair. People do love their reality TV. They do love their royalty. They like watching people. I'm passionate about everything. Yeah, I have a redeem called a rant redeem. Yeah, it doesn't hurt that it's a great source of income and profits for the people producing the entertainment. Again, right, it's the same thing where you have someone who can see, hey, I could do this, I could act for, 40 hours a week and see how much I can produce. Or I could see how many actors I can hire to produce movies, right? Like, yeah, the more you're helping other people create stuff, the higher that upper limit goes. Yeah, monopolies are bad for innovation. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, having more than one person or company providing a service is better. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, and we don't do so well keeping those monopolies in check, right? Yeah, and again, better or worse for different countries and different cultures. But there's a huge problem with that all over the world right now. Hey, Janos, how's it going? There's a cost to being a celebrity. Look at the royals. Yeah, look at poor Harry and Meghan, who I'm sure have gone through a lot, but I think also play up the drama because it makes them money, right? And to be fair, they want money so they can get away from their family, which is fair, but I don't know. I just feel like they play it up, which is fine too. Again, they are literally being celebrities for the sake of being celebrities. And Harry's done they've both done pretty good stuff in the world. I don't think either one is bad, selfish people, so. Nepotism. Yes, I am absolutely 5,000,000% in support of more transparency around nepotism and more deliberate rules and regulations to prevent outright nepotism, especially in things like public positions, like in the government. That's ridiculous. So if you own your own company and you want to hire your family, it's your company. The reason you started a company is because you want to do that. Sure, whatever. But as soon as you are a government position, a government group, or you're a publicly funded company or all of this other stuff, you have other responsibilities. What are you doing that you are only being nepotistic in your hires? You remember when they broke up Microsoft? How's that going, eh? Right? It's better, like, at least they're trying to do things sometimes, right? Trying is better than nothing. Yeah, we all want what's best for our children, but pushing them too far is destructive. That's the other thing, too. You get all these people who have all these, like, expectations just because of how they were born. And, you know, it's that generational cyclic thing where the first generation builds their wealth and their business, and then the next generation's usually okay, but by the time you get to the third generation, they're a disaster because they just expect everything, and then they lose it all, right? And that doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough that it's a cycle, like it's a trend that you can see. Yeah, at some point everyone else is looking at you funny. Yeah. Yeah, trying, succeeding, not yet. Agreed, not yet. We need better rules and regulations on that. So vote for politicians, especially local politicians, who will help in your own town. And people think, oh, this has to be enacted at the country level. It doesn't. Your town has bylaws about what companies, what brands are allowed to set up shop in your city or town. Vote for local politicians, which is really the best way to get change done, who will actively put restrictions on big brand name companies coming into your town. Vote for politicians who will actually maybe tax them a little bit differently, right? Like if you're a Walmart, maybe your property taxes are different than the mom and pop grocery store. Like these are things that local politicians can do and that you can actually support. Yeah, you think local politics is where you get the best results for your efforts? Absolutely, agreed. Start where you can actually make a difference. 100%. Yep. Yeah, I wasn't in Toronto for very long, but the local politician I voted for in Toronto was the one who actually like had a plan for the homeless people in Toronto and like volunteered at a homeless shelter in Toronto. I'm like, okay, you are on the ground, like doing, you know, for me as someone who wasn't going to stay in Toronto, the issues I had were with my day-to-day life, like seeing people suffering. And I'm like, okay, let's find the politician who's dealing with that. And right, like just finding the ones who are actually working on the problems instead of just big pipe dreams. Meanwhile, you have a dead strip mall in your town. You'd be happy to have anything. You do know the new owner, for what it's worth, but who knows when they'll break ground. Yeah, I mean, that type of real estate is really interesting because strip malls are kind of... they're on the way out, and there's debate as to whether they should be or not, and for the most part, if it's handled well, they should be on the way out because we should be getting more into the walkable cities, that 15-minute city lifestyle, right? Where people don't have to drive their car to a strip mall. They can just walk to the stores they need. So I do think it's good to start moving away from that. Yeah, these big empty lots. Yeah, big parking lots, big mall lots, like just... zoning restrictions are, we're talking about things I have strong opinions on. I have huge opinions on zoning restrictions. Zoning restrictions in North America in particular are garbage. They're absolutely nuts and they actively harm people. Zoning restrictions should not be a thing. Like, the only types of zoning restrictions that should exist are things like industrial factories that have like harmful physical side effects and residential areas. Like, businesses should not be in separate zones from residential areas. People should be able to have a house and a store and a hairdresser and a lawyer and a doctor all in their same block, anywhere in North America. Oh, fun topic. Industrial zones moving next to black and poor neighborhoods. Yup. Yeah, so, and like I said, zoning needs to exist for things like, you know, heavy pollutant industrial zones next to residential and, you know, business neighborhoods, downtown neighborhoods. That should be restricted. But like, there is no harm in having regular businesses on the same block as a house or an apartment building, and we have these huge restrictions about that in Canada and America and the US. And then you get the opposite thing where it's like, actually, there's no restriction for putting this giant factory right next to a residential zone. It's like, why is that not restricted? Like, there should be a space limit to how close this can be. You personally have friends who are assuredly in the poverty range, and from the outside looking in, you'd call them redneck drug addicts. They don't know how to manage their money or leverage into something beneficial to themselves or have the willpower to do so. You think they burned through those stimulus checks like it was birthday money, lol. Yeah, I mean, you can blame people all you want, but like at the end of the day, like financial literacy in especially the States is terrible. Like it's not taught, and if your parents didn't teach you, how would you ever learn? It's not taught anywhere. Canada's better for that, but not great. So yeah, like how are people supposed to know how to handle money when all the examples of people in their life handle it terribly? Like how would they ever know how to handle it right? Like you have people who literally don't understand what retirement savings are. You have people who literally don't understand what stocks are. You have people who literally don't even understand how to like open up a retirement account or a savings account. Like you have people who just do not understand what actual savings even would look like. So how on earth could you expect them to be good at it? And that's something I'm very passionate about, I think. And I think we are moving this way, at least in Canada. I've definitely seen more financial literacy things in school, and I think Americans need to make that a part of their educational curriculum. And I think they are, but I think it needs to be more standardized and more widespread. Because yeah, it's like, well, that's something the parents should teach them. It's like, okay, but what if they don't? Like, okay, that's great for those who have parents who can teach them that, but there's a lot of people who don't. You know a fair few grown people who cannot do basic math, and you talk to them about math, they run away again. Are you American? I am Canadian, yeah, and I live in Europe now. The people who are good at math exploit the ones who are not. Correct. Yeah, again, I think especially the way we teach math in Western society is garbage. Like we teach math so that it scares people. We teach math so that it terrifies people and they hate it and they don't want to touch it as an adult. And that's awful because like basic math isn't difficult. Like most people of a normal intelligence level, which is the majority of the population, can do basic math. And they do. Like a lot of people who would say they hated math class might end up being like, for instance, a carpenter who uses math constantly in their day-to-day work, somewhat knowing it and somewhat not knowing it. But like they're constantly using math, but they'd say they hate it. Same with someone like, if you're running a business or you're doing something like that, like even just doing inventory and that kind of thing and doing accounting for any sort of business, you're doing a ton of math and people don't realize how good they are at math because they got so scared of it in school. Yeah, one of the people you're thinking is a Canadian friend. Yeah, no, Canada's education system is in general better than America, but we have a lot of the same cultural things. So things like being afraid of math, like teaching math wrong, because the people who want to be math teachers are the people who are really good at math. And so they only know how to teach other people who are also good at math. We need math teachers who aren't good at math. Husband got the raise and you got sushi last night. Excellent. Congrats. You had some very poor teachers growing up, but you also had some amazing ones. You never know what you'll get. Right? I think that's true too. I think that's why it's a good thing that we have a system where you go through multiple teachers in your schooling. I think that's important, so you're not just stuck with one, at least for more than a year usually. Your college calculus professor was the most amazing teacher you think you ever had. He had a way of teaching and helping everyone in class learn and do a better job of it. I'm jealous. I'm jealous so much. Every single calculus professor I had in university, I think I had like 4 or 5 of them. They were exactly what I just described. They were awful. They made you feel stupid. They taught for people who already understood it. Hi, Magpie. They would go through an entire lesson and then the homework would be on something completely different, like it wouldn't relate to what they said in class. And then the test would be on something completely different and it didn't relate to either what they said in class or what the homework was. So I had the worst selection of calculus professors in university. And I actually had pretty decent math teachers in high school. Like I had one really good math teacher who used to be an engineer in high school, and he was like right on that cusp of being able to talk to normal people, but he still had an engineering background, so he was a math heavy person. Like he really liked math, but he was right on that edge of being able to talk to humans, whereas none of my calculus professors in university could even like function being able to explain things to non-calculus people. It was very frustrating. Your college algebra professor was good at math and also angry and low tolerance to anyone not paying attention. He'd get mad and throw stuff at his chalkboard frequently. Talk about night and day when you compare the two professors. That's funny. None of my professors were allowed to throw stuff at chalkboards. I think they would have gotten in trouble. But most of them, okay, so I think the thing about all of my college professors is that they were so checked out. Like, at least for math. For some of the other subjects, it was better. But for math, calculus, they all, and to be fair, some of this was the university's fault because, like, these weren't long-term positions. These were all people who were there for, like, 1 year as an adjunct and then, like, maybe didn't even get that job again the next year. You know what I mean? So, like, they didn't have a lot of investment in this job. But it showed. Like, they didn't care. They didn't know what they were doing. They had no experience teaching this stuff. Like, obviously, they knew it. They were math PhDs, grads. But, yeah, like, they didn't care. So, like, if people weren't paying attention, they didn't even care. You could sleep in the class. You know, these were classes of, like, 100 people. There was nothing that would happen. Like, they wouldn't say anything to you. They just did not care at all. So, like, yeah, there was no investment, no involvement, no engagement. And they did that thing where, again, they made you feel stupid because they'd put a question on the board, be like, okay, everyone try to answer this. And then, like, okay, like, here's the right answer and here's how you did it. And then if you had questions or you didn't understand or you got a different answer, like, they would make you feel stupid if you tried to ask a question or figure out what was actually going on. Talking about stuff I have a strong opinion on. Calculus in university is one of the things I have a strongest opinion on because that was some of the worst classes of my life. And I used to like math in high school. I still like calculus when I don't have to do it for an exam. To be fair, your statistics professor was 195 years old, repeated everything he said twice or more, and couldn't really teach anymore. You had to self-teach statistics law. That's okay, you can self-teach statistics, right? Like intro statistics, you just need to learn the formulas and make sure you know how to apply your charts, and you're probably good. Whereas calculus, like, calculus has to, like, sink into your brain in, like, a way where not many things have to sink into your brain, at least not until you get to the university level. Once you get to the university level, everything is supposed to be like that, right? Like, even if you're dealing with, like, literature or chemistry or whatever it is, it's supposed to sink into your brain in a different way. Calculus, there is no way to do calculus without it sinking into your brain. And if you don't know how to teach it that way, you can't teach it. Whereas statistics, yeah, higher level statistics, same thing. You need to understand it at a deeper level. But intro statistics, you can just learn how to do that. It's like intro algebra. You can just learn how to do it from the book. Most of the professors in your major were foreign, usually no humor, very strict, and no tolerance for people who didn't take the classes seriously. Yeah, I had similar. I had 50% of my professors were foreign. They had no humor, but they were not very strict, and they had, like, zero ability or care for people to take the class seriously, because they had no ability to, like, regulate that, basically. Like, if someone showed up and didn't do the work or didn't pay attention or didn't do anything, like, they had nothing. The most they could do is kick them out of class, and they don't want to do that because they get paid based on how many students they teach. I presume. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm presuming in most universities, professors get paid based on how many students are in their class. So they don't want to kick people out, right? And it's one of those examples of things that are, like, the rewards are not in line with the behavior you want to motivate. Because, like, professors should get paid based on how many people learn and graduate the course, not based on how many butts are in seats. You had some teachers that were worse than Bueller's professor. Oh my god, right? Like, just drone on and ons. Oh. Your first 2 years of college was like that. You need to do these classes to make us money, but we want you to think you need these. Yeah. Frequently classes of upwards of 300 students, and they didn't care about anything. Yeah, at first, you'd approach math as a creative exercise to see how many different ways you could get from point A to point B while annoying the professor. Okay, yeah, fun. See, that was how I liked math in high school. And in calculus, it starts being, like, that's what it's intentionally about. Like, in calculus, there's multiple ways to get to the answer. Like, there's a way that they're teaching you that they want to see, but if you can do it another way and prove it, that's fine. Like, they don't care as long as you are using mathematical proofs and you're not just, like, guessing. Day 1 class, 300. Day 2, 60 students. And they do expect that too, right? Like, they expect people who won't show up but will show up for the exam, people who show up the first day but then drop it. Yeah, later you just gave up on taking classes and learned on your own time. Yep. You did 100% of your college calc classes. Congrats. That is fucking hard. That is difficult to do, so good job. Good work. You found it so much easier than algebra, which you struggled as a kid. I loved algebra. I still love algebra. Yeah, I like calculus and I want to like it so much more than I do, but I just had these absolutely like emotionally distressing, like psychologically breakdown experiences with calculus in university. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that. It's not something that I couldn't overcome if I had a reason to. Like if I had a reason to get back into it and start liking it, I could. But for me right now, it's like, nope, I'm not going anywhere near that. You hated high school, Atanshi? Calculus is just algebra plus inductive logic. Yeah, right? Like I said, I did a bunch of classes on it and I passed the classes. But yeah, it's all of that. How they teach the inductive logic part was really, really bad in my school. And I have a feeling it's really, really bad in most universities. Yeah, prove cool things about what sorts of algebra questions have answers. Exactly, right? Like I love the actual applications of it. And I even in my field, biology, like there were practical applications of calculus, things like growth curves for cells and bacteria and stuff, right? Like just to name one. But there's more of those, right? Like so there were reasons where I had to use it. And so I'm really mad that they mentally scarred me so much about it. You needed a therapist, not school. Yeah, there's a lot of people who the school system kind of beats up for not doing school well, and it's like, school is not what they need right now. They need someone to help them actually sort through their life. You know what I mean? And it depends. Like maybe there's issues at home. Maybe there's issues, with like learning disabilities. Maybe there's issues with like past experiences. Maybe there's something else entirely going on right now. Like maybe they've had a loss or grief or, a move. Like all of these things where it's like, hey, they're not doing well in school. And it's like, that's because that's not what they need to work on right now. Like their brain needs to focus on like resolving these bigger issues. Like let's deal with that first before we try to slap them in another class. One of your database programming professors was from India, and every day he'd be muttering, why do I even do this? That's not good. I always liked my computer science classes because those professors cared about what they were teaching. You could tell because they were nerds, but also they didn't care what you did in class as long as you proved that you knew what you were doing. Like if you did the assignment and you proved what you were doing, you could do whatever you wanted all class, and like you could make your assignments as weird as you wanted because they want to see you like doing stuff bizarrely. Like they want to see you take it to some weird, strange new level and like make the programming do something cool. So I always liked my computer science professors. Everyone should have a mandated therapist that teaches kids what therapy is and common things kids deal with. There's millions that don't even know how to ask for help. Absolutely agreed. I think we are getting better at that. I mean, from my perspective as a Canadian who has a lot of Canadian friends who are teachers in Canada, and also teachers who've taught overseas. In Canada, at least, that is something teachers now are actively trained to look for. Like what students are having trouble, why might they be having trouble, and being really, I think America has a lot of this too, being really considerate and open to working through kind of what does this kid need right now? How could we get this kid therapy? How could we, convince their parents that this is something that would help? And how can we teach them to ask for help in the future? And like self-regulate and recognize when they need help. There is a way they're teaching you and want to see. Any class where you have to write things, lol. You spend more time learning how the teacher wants it to be written, so you can get a good grade than anything else. Yup. Yeah, all those professors who were like marking things bad because it's not the way they would say it, or it's not their opinion. I hate those. You had a class that illustrated how many different ways people learn, and then you sat there thinking, with so many ways, why are 90% of the classes being taught one way? On that note, I can't learn from a lecture. I hate lectures. I can't learn from a lecture at all. Like, I'm not a fan of audiobooks, although I will do them when I'm walking the dog or when I'm walking around or waiting for the bus. I can't learn from audio. So sitting in a room with a professor droning on for an hour and a half, moving way too fast with their slides so I can't write down notes fast enough. It was just like the worst possible way to get information into my head. Like, I learned really well from a book. I learned really well from like doing example questions. And most of these professors wouldn't do that. They would just like show you the example on the board, tell you to do the homework, and then come back. And it's like, by the time you get to the homework, you know, even if it's the same day, it's not the same. Like, your brain's forgotten half of what they said because you're not an auditory learner and you couldn't hear, like you couldn't listen to what they were goddamn saying. So yeah, I hate lecture style teaching. I love teaching in like high school, etc., because it's more integrative. Like, the written materials they give you, like the textbooks, are actually useful, handouts are useful, whereas I found in university most of the time the textbook was covering something completely different, or like if it was working with actual like research articles and stuff, like it was just a mess. Hot take, we should teach set theory, modular arithmetic, group theory, algebra, geometry, and proof theory all at the same time before starting calculus. Yeah, that's kind of something. I don't have a strong opinion on how we're teaching calculus, but in a second I'm going to get into my very, very strong opinions on the order we teach biology. The old one-size-fits-all way of teaching people for profit. Let's hope you can figure out how to pass if you don't learn the conventional way they're taught. Good luck. Yeah. Prepare for factory work style. Yeah. What factory? There are a lot of classes that would be helpful to be mandatory, but the problem being not every person is a tried and true academic success. A fair few of your friends hate reading in all forms. Good luck getting them to learn anything. They'll tell you they hate learning. Yeah, anyone who tells you they hate learning really had bad teachers in school, because human beings love to learn. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that one study where if you put a human being in an empty room with nothing to do, but like a box of old paperwork, like boring paper, like that has nothing to do with anything, it's out of date and it's useless garbage, they will sit there and read the paperwork. Like, they will sit there and read absolutely anything you put in that room, because humans can't handle not doing anything. They want to learn. They want to acquire new information. They want to figure things out. Like, the reason humans are different than other animals is because we love figuring stuff out. We love solving things. We love learning things. Like, it's an integral part of our success. And so anyone who's telling you they hate it has really been screwed up by the school system or their family, you know, some experience. You're allergic to lectures, right? You can learn from just about any form. If it isn't your favorite, you'll supplement it with what you know works for you. Yeah, 1.5 times YouTube videos, yes. You realized in higher education, a lot of the learning fell on you to utilize what you're good at, to lock in or cement what was taught to you. Yeah. I feel like they tried to do that. Like, they tried to teach that a little bit in like high school and maybe early university, where it's like, hey, here's some different ways of trying to, like, you know, absorb this material. And it just wasn't good enough when the only way they were teaching the material was through a lecture and an exam. It's funny, you did well in classes that you were allowed to sit on the desk for. Yeah, right? Like, some people just don't do well sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day. You can actively stop them from learning things. You were the kind of person who busted your ass to be at every class and learn each day and not wait till test time to panic and cram. Learn as you go, and that is studying for your upcoming tests and quizzes. See, I knew all that. I had undiagnosed ADHD when I started university. And so you put an ADHD person in a situation where if they don't show up for class, the professor doesn't notice and doesn't care. And the only thing you have to show up for is the midterm and the final exam. And guess who doesn't show up for class? At 8:30 in the goddamn morning. Afternoon classes were fine. You could always show up for afternoon classes. Go for that low-hanging fruit, all the easy points in the early part of a semester. Forever telling people to start a semester with high effort so you don't box yourself into a panic stress place later on. I always started every single semester with high effort, and it lasted about a week. It lasted like a goddamn week until I figured out medication for ADHD. Yep. And also, like, I'm one of those ADHD people who basically could learn things the night before the test. And so it's self-reinforcing, right? You do that once and you're like, oh, I actually got a pretty good grade. And so then you do it again the next time, right? And so it just gets worse and worse until you hit a point where you're like calculus and you're like, oh, fuck. I could, like in high school, I would learn all of my math stuff the day before the test, right? Because I paid attention in class and I did the examples in class. I could figure it out on the test. Like I just relearn it on the test from what I remembered hearing in class and writing down in class. In calculus, absolutely useless because the stuff on the test wasn't even the stuff they covered in class. You don't know why you were there, to be honest. You've been happy or not there. Still need therapy. Yeah, I think you need to know, especially for something like university or college, like you need to know why you're there and to want it for a reason other than just like, it's what I should be doing. Or it's what I need for the next stage. It's like, well, what is the next stage? Like, what job do you actually want? What do you want to do with your life? Because otherwise, you're not going to have a good time. That's why I get really mad when people are like, yeah, just go to college and find out what you want. It's like, for most people, that's really expensive, especially if you're in America or Canada. America more so than Canada. Like, don't tell people just to go to college to find themselves because they're wasting a lot of time and money. Like, that's a bad plan. If you live in Europe where, university is free for you or whatever, sure, that's a bit better advice. But it's dangerous advice to give to an American. Even a Canadian, to be fair. Like, Canadian university is still expensive. It's just not stupid like America. You lovingly pointed out that not everyone is good at learning via lectures, right? And yet they still insist on teaching only via lectures. And some people just don't do well with tests or test environments. And that is exactly what they use for every class. Yeah, okay, so you said exactly the same thing I was saying. They pointed out that people don't do well in all this stuff. And then they continue to do exactly that. You'd be waking up at 5 a.m. to be the first person sitting in your 8 a.m. class. Again, ADHD, and that frequently goes along with chronological disruptions, which means I don't wake up until the sun sets naturally. So yeah, trying to get me up at 5 or 8 a.m., especially before I had any medication, was just garbage. It was just awful. It was fun in high school because in high school, if you don't show up, like, A, your parents will make you leave the house, and B, the school will like call you, and C, your teachers will get mad at you the next day and like ask you where you were. So like there's like a huge amount of layers of like consequences for not showing up in high school, and in university none of those consequences exist, and you're living on your own. There's no one at home to make sure to even know if you go or not. So yeah, that was an absolute disaster until I figured out the ADHD thing. Because like for me, if I have a job at 9 a.m., again, there's a consequence. If you don't show up, your boss is going to know and you're going to get fired. So I have no problem getting to a job in the morning. But a class where the only consequence is you miss the lecture that's posted online as slides, like, well, that's terrible, but no one's going to notice. And then you just hurt yourself. Yeah, to be fair, you went to college on a full academic scholarship and double majored in biology and chemistry, and then proceeded to lose it in roughly a year. That's not uncommon, right? Hey, productivity, how you doing? You start every semester by reading all your textbooks. Sarkonis, you dropped out, had a girlfriend, a crap job, and thought life will be fine. And it wasn't, lol. Oh dear. You went back to college and did it right the second time. Blazed through it, chasing your STEM degree. No messing around and very focused. I find that happens a lot of times to people who come back for a second time because they, A, understand what it's like. Because it's very hard to... For a lot of people, it's really weird. It's really hard to like understand what college is like while you're in it. You have to like, a lot of people have to take some time away from it in order to be like, oh, I can formulate a system for how I would deal with that. And then additionally, coming back with a goal. And then it's like, well, the system just works now because I understand what I needed a system for and why I needed it. And then they just do it. So yeah, I think the fact that we kind of put a huge amount of priority on people finishing college in one go is dangerous too. Yeah, you were only there because you were told to. That's the thing for a lot of like millennials and Gen Z, right? It's that whole kind of like, well, everyone has to go to college because that's how you got a good job. And it's like, that's how you got a good job if you were a boomer or Gen X. Like, it's not relevant. It's not necessarily true anymore. And it's a dangerous line to just push everyone into college, especially where in a place where it's expensive. Again, if you live in a country where college is free, sure, go to college. But it is dangerous to push that on people who are going to get themselves into a lifetime debt of student loans. A lot of people ended up there because of what I should be doing. You wanted to work potentially. A lot of your college friends had a lot of trouble choosing a major and sticking to it. Yep, I don't think I know it. I probably know a couple people who graduated in 4 years. Most people I know and most people I went to school with did not graduate in 4 years. To be fair, the University of Victoria, where I went to school, is one of those schools where it has a reputation for being a longer commitment than usual. People generally graduate there a bit later than at other schools, so that didn't help either. Some of them had been there 5 or 6 years and still didn't know what to do, right? And it's like, you just need to get into the real world and figure out what kind of work you like doing. Because what you study in college is not what your daily life is going to look like in a job. A lot of women were there to make dad happy. Okay, that seems unnecessarily gendered, because I feel like a lot of men are also there to make their parents happy, right? Like, I think that goes every direction. A lot of kids are there to make their parents happy. You have a good friend who has ADHD and she's trying to pursue a degree in psychology, and she struggles to get her work done and get things submitted, but she's tenacious and won't stop trying. The only reason I have my degree is because I'm tenacious as fuck. Like, I should have stopped at so many points, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna get this degree, and then I did it eventually. Do you drink Italian soda in Italy? I don't know if Italian soda is an actual Italian thing or if it's like an American Italian thing. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen it somewhere in Italy. If I had, I probably wouldn't have noticed, though, because it's probably at like the same way it is in America and Canada. Is that like those cute little shops that kind of like specialize in it? It's like, oh, look at it, we have Italian soda, it's so great, right? Whereas I feel like in Italy, if I looked for it, I could probably find someone who does like custom soda, right? But no, I haven't seen it, but I'll keep my eyes open because I haven't looked for it either. You had academic burnout by the time you hit college and you needed a step away moment. See, I didn't hit academic burnout until like my second year of absolutely hitting the wall for 2 years straight in college. Because I got into college and like some of my high school habits lasted me, I think this is pretty common, lasted me like, most of the way through first year. And then by second year, it was a real struggle. And then like, once you go a whole year of just like seriously banging your head against a wall, you burn out real fast. Yeah, a little growth and time away from academics recharged your battery. Your greatest vice is being unable to pragmatically step away. Yeah, you do need to know when to stop something. Felt that for me, that was like moving away from chemistry and closer into microbiology. Because it was like, no, I do not, there's no point in me beating my head against the wall with chemistry when it's not for me. Like, it's not enjoyable and I don't need it. Like, let's move into the biology side of things. Yeah, in college, if you're in your 4th year, you'll know what it feels like. You'd rather things go wrong, seemingly. Yeah, a lot of people just, it's that really hard to be self-aware of when it's like, what are the consequences here? What is this going to look like? What is most likely to happen if I continue versus if I just stop? And that's such a hard question to answer. You took summer classes to graduate faster, but no time for recovery. Oh yeah, I see. I started working in the summers in college, and then I started working through the regular semesters in college, and then I started taking classes in the summer and working and not stopping working in the fall, and then continuing working and continuing full-time school, and then it was just like, no wonder, Jesus Christ. But funnily enough, so this is another ADD hack. I do better when my time is scheduled 24 hours a day, like 26 hours a day, to be quite frank, because then I can't put things off. So if I have a fully scheduled 24-hour day, like including sleep and stuff, and I have 2 hours to do homework or a project or something, I have to do it in those 2 hours because I know the rest of my day is completely busy. So then I do it in those 2 hours. Where if I have any leeway at all, where if I'm like, oh, well, when I get home from work at 10 p.m., I could do it for an hour then, you know what I mean? Like, I'll put it off and then I'll put it off again. Whereas if I'm like, no, I don't get home till midnight, and when I get home from work, I need to go immediately to bed because I have to be up at 7 a.m. in the morning. Well, I have to do it before I go to work then, don't I? So scheduling myself like to the nth degree is actually one of the hacks that I developed before I knew how to deal with ADHD properly, because it works. But yeah, it burns you out. Yeah, most colleges' 4-year pass rate is not high. People take 6 years to get those 4-year degree nows, and they didn't used to. It didn't used to be that way. So we're kind of screwing something up, and colleges don't care because they want you there for 6 years. 6 years of tuition is a better deal for them. So it's in their best interest for you to take a long time to graduate. Yeah, Tirani, the San Francisco-based syrup company for the American sodas. The Italian sodas. Oh, really? You literally got a 20% who said, Dad will tell me this would be good money. Okay, fair. You had a statistical real answer there. That's amazing. But yeah, I mean, if your parents told you it would make good money, that's a pretty good reason to be somewhere, right? Like, if your goal is to get a good job out of university, which is a good goal to go into university that's going to cost you a lot of money, yeah, get a degree that's going to get you that job. Yeah, and the ones who didn't cite Dad still said it was for the money. Yeah, most of the guys were there for the money and security, right? So it's all the same answer. They just didn't say their dad. But I bet their dad also told them it's a good money degree. So the girls were just more comfortable saying their parents told them. That's funny. That's so funny. Your friends who couldn't handle engineering decided on an easier path. Box lifting. Schedules are good to keep focus. Schedules? What's that? You have days where if you don't start it doing X, you don't do a damn thing all day. I feel that. Try and start your day with work first. Work hard, because as the day wears on, you'll begin to make excuses or put things off. Yeah. Your rule is work hard, play later. Yeah, see, that's never worked for me, unfortunately. I've tried that and it has never ever worked for me. Like that whole like eat the frog first, or like do your biggest task first, or like do your hardest task first, or like, just start on the most important stuff, all that kind of stuff doesn't work for me. And it's very frustrating that, like some advice works for some people and some advice doesn't work for other people. And that's one of the ones that doesn't work for me at all. You always give yourself a couple hours to unwind and play when you could. That's healthy. Whether it was going out to eat with friends, watching TV, or just gaming. To be fair, when I say scheduled 24 hours a day, some of that stuff is social events. So it would be like in university, it'd be like a club event, or like, dinner with a friend, or even just studying with a friend, right? But like social events were part of my schedule, because again, if I don't have social events scheduled, I don't do them. Like I'll just sit at home and not call anyone. But if I schedule them into my plan, then it's like, oh, I'll show up and I'll go to the things I scheduled and the people I told I would be there and that kind of stuff. So I did plan in some level of social and events in there. Things like just watching TV or like reading or gaming or whatever, that's the kind of stuff that my brain fits in anyways. So that's one of the reasons I do Pomodoro timers when I'm working, is that like if I just try to work for 8 hours, I can, because I can hyper focus like a mofo. But then at the end, I will hyper focus on reading or watching TV. So if I break it up with a Pomodoro timer, I can kind of like keep that in check and keep it in balance. Yeah, your friends could never find time to relax because they were horrible at their time management. Yeah, we throw people into the deep end in college. You always wake up super alert and ready for the day. You can do amazing work in your first 8 hours awake. I'm very jealous because that means you get a beautiful little dopamine push right when you wake up. I don't get mine till the sun sets. And yeah, it means A, I don't want to wake up. It means B, I don't focus well. It means C, I'm cold and tired all day. And it means D, I didn't figure this out until well into university. And so I spent the entirety of like my school life, like in, as an adolescent, in high school, in university and all that stuff, just being tired and depressed and sad and like, not even depressed, 'cause I've never been depressed, but like sad and exhausted and stressed and sleepy every day of my life for most of my life when I was that age. And then when I realized that's not how it has to be, like that wasn't just how everyone woke up in the morning, it was like, oh Jesus fuck, I need the dopamine. Motherfucking Christ. Yeah, you had a strong social life. You're an extrovert, so it's easy as breathing. Yeah, it's better now. It was better when I was in Canada and had dexedrine. Now that I'm in Italy and only have methylphenidate, it's not as good. It's just not as effective. So it's kind of like I had the perfect system that worked like phenomenally, and now I'm back down to like 50 to 75% depending on the day, which is still a whole lot better than 0%, but it's really frustrating because now I know what 100% looks like and feels like. But yeah, figuring all that out definitely helps a lot. Yeah, 50 to 70% is still amazing. It's better than nothing, for sure. But it's really frustrating too, because for me it's like when I had this perfect system down, like I could do so much. Like I could do a full day's work and then I could do a full day's work on my business, right? And then, you know, still have time to like relax and, you know, enjoy my social life. And now it's like, okay, I barely want to get through a full day's work, and I do not want to get through any work on my business most days. And it's like finding that balance is so frustrating. But it's better than just laying in bed all day, because I can't wake up until the afternoon. What was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say earlier, we were talking about course organization. The one thing that I had to say about biology is that the university I was at, and I think a lot of universities, put things like organic chemistry and calculus in the first year requirements, and they should be in the last year requirements, because when you take them, courses that have nothing to do with what you're in school for, like biology, for instance, you don't understand what you're doing. It doesn't sink in, and you can pass the course, but then by the time you need that stuff in fourth year, you've already forgotten it, and you start to understand why it's relevant, but it's been so long that you still basically have to relearn it again. And so it's so stupid, because if they just taught calculus in fourth year when I actually needed it for figuring stuff out, and when I actually needed, because they try to teach it like organic chemistry, so you can understand how all this works. And it's like, but you don't need to understand how it all connects until fourth year. And if you taught organic chemistry and chemistry, like basic university chemistry, in fourth year, it would make so much more sense, because you don't need to know how the atoms interact until you know why that matters. And of course it matters. Like, you need to know how these chemicals react. But like, you don't need to know it in that order. If you learned it in the opposite order of here's how these chemicals react, here's how these organic molecules interact, here's what they look like, here's why they interact, here's what those atoms look like, here's why those atoms act that way. Like, I think we teach that absolutely backwards. And I would have done a lot better if I'd been learning the chemistry, organic chemistry, and calculus at a stage when it was actually applicable. Self-motivation and regulation is hard. It is part of growth, and people should endeavor to do it. Yes, exactly. I think for me, as someone who has ADHD, and now that we have science showing that like the difference between ADHD and not having it is a very distinct like chemical difference in the brain, like how much dopamine is present in your brain and how much that affects your ability to just do it, just do the thing and be motivated and self-regulate, is much easier if you have dopamine in your brain than if you don't. And then we tell everyone, well, just do it. And it's like, okay, cool, but like that's like totally different as to whether you have dopamine or not. And to be fair, this is all very new research, but I think it is something that is very important and needs to come up. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. It means you should be willing to find different and new ways, and teachers should be willing to teach in different and new ways and give different study skills and life skills, because there is a distinct difference in how much ability someone has to just do things when they don't have dopamine. Yeah, higher education is more of a show the employer you're teachable, then will you retain everything? Yeah, but that's the thing, like, even for that, it just becomes so explicit that it's like, literally, we think you should learn these things and we don't care what the best way to learn them is at all. Like, at the end of the day, did you study chemistry? Did you study math? Did you study biology? Check, check, check. And it's like, do you understand how any of that correlates to each other? No? Don't care. Yeah, and then degrees in medicine residency is important because you need that hands-on training. 100%. I am going to run a brief ad. The university doesn't care if you pass or fail. They're a business. Exactly. Some professors may care, but a lot of them might not. No, it's just water. A lot are just there for their teaching paycheck. Well, and like, especially, I know in Canada this is a huge problem, and it's a problem in the States too, whereas a lot of them aren't even professors. They're literally adjunct, or they might even just be PhD students. Like, they're just there for their absolutely terrible adjunct pay so that they can one day hope of becoming a professor. And so they really have no investment, no experience, no, you know what I mean? Like, they're gung-ho because they like it and they want to be a professor, but like, they're not being respected or rewarded for that in any way, and it really it burns them out real fast. God damn, I gotta deal with the click up. you had one professor who... you worked for as her personal assistant. I'd be like, what should I teach today? And then just go to class and talk about what she highlighted. Yeah, you've been to university, college, and trade schools, and you found college and trade schools the best. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because there's a little bit more pressure for that to actually lead somewhere. Whereas there's something to be said for university being about like the pure application of learning, like pure knowledge and research and learning that. But they market themselves as a career path. So it's one thing if you're a university and you're like, well, we're all about the purest form of knowledge, but don't market yourself as a career progression path then. You know what I mean? Like you can't have it both ways. So if you're going to be about telling people if they get this degree, they're going to get a good job, then you better also tailor your professors and your courses to that. And like the way they teach. She let you grade papers for her classes. And the funny part is you were a student in one of them at the time. I feel like that's, like at my university, that would definitely have been against the rules. Like you are not allowed to put a TA who's in a class on grading for that same class. So that's interesting that your school didn't care or she didn't care. Yeah, I mean, it's good that she trusted you, but like, people would have gotten in trouble for that at my university if they did that, even if the teacher did trust them, right? Like, even if nothing went wrong with it, I feel like that, I mean, I'm kind of guessing here. I feel like that would have been a problem. I don't think I ever saw it become a problem, so, you know, and I'm sure lots of teachers do get away with it all the time, right? Because that's exactly what you do when you have a student who you really like and they want to help out, so... The whole class got this wrong. Give them the points anyway. Yeah, devotion to answer things correctly. And she didn't want to have to read through your answers. Yeah, once you get to that kind of point where clearly your classes are running well, then people stop caring, so. Still think that should probably be against the rules. And just by default. So at the end of the day, you were writing out all these really long answers, even though you knew you were the only one who was ever going to read them. Okay, what is wrong with ClickUp? Oh, I wanted to do a line sheet. God damn it, I want to get back on Canva. I need to do ClickUp instead, but I want to do Canva. Oh no, ClickUp is like it's a low dopamine producing activity, and Canva is always such a high dopamine producing activity. And I've said this before, Canva is like a goddamn slot machine. It's just a little dopamine factory. I fucking love Canva. I love ClickUp too when it works, but then when stuff goes wrong, it's like, oh god, this is gonna take forever to fix. But I do recommend ClickUp because I've tried basically every of those stupid like organizational productivity, you know, like things, and ClickUp is the best one by far. Like it just has the most options to adjust things the way you want them. So I do recommend ClickUp. Recommend Canva more. I feel like I should have, if I don't have, affiliate links for Canva and ClickUp. I should look into that because I should post that in my Twitch bio. That would make sense. Or my link tree or something. Okay, what am I doing? I want to search line sheet. I've never made a line sheet on Canva before. But I have enough books now that I need a line sheet so I can theoretically sell them to someone. Theoretically sell them to bookstores. I don't want, oh god, I hate how Canva defaults to out of your own projects. And it's like, no, I want to search your entire website for everything. Just show me everything. Templates, please. Why has my previous file not downloaded yet? I know it is huge, actually, so I guess an error occurred. Retry. It's like a 268-page book, so please download. Here, go get some food. Excellent. Enjoy. What is it? Is it 6 p.m.? Okay, and I'm supposed to see my friend at 7:30, so I should probably make some food. I should probably ask her if she's going to want to eat food so I can either make some food or not make some food, but I need to deal with it. So I do want to use that chili. Will you have... no, I think I'm just going to eat because I just want to eat here and I don't want to be hungry downtown because I don't want to spend money downtown. Okay, 7:30 in Trastevere. Okay, that's a 3. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that. I just go make some food. Click up. What is the problem with click up? What the fuck does that mean? Okay. Okay, I like how I just recommended ClickUp and now I'm like, what the hell is this garbage? Why do you want me to pay $12 more a month for something? For what? What is it that you want? And what do I already have? So I'm already paying you money. So what do I need to change here? Yeah, I have unlimited custom fields already. So like, what's going on here? Did you like not bill correctly or something? Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. Like, did it just not process the payment properly? Is that the problem? Ooh, ClickUp has some nice line sheets. Okay, let's save a couple of these. That one looks good. That one looks good. That one looks good. I knew Canva. Did I say ClickUp? Canva has some nice line sheet templates, and I knew Canva would. Okay, I need one with like text details. Okay, probably one of those will do. I don't need 500 of these. You have a bad habit of not eating until you're several hours into your day. First, I don't typically eat a lot in the mornings, but it doesn't have to be a bad habit. A lot of people get really wrapped up in like, oh, you have to eat breakfast, and then no, you don't. Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat when you're not hungry. Like, obviously, if you're about to leave the house for 8 hours and like maybe you're not going to get another chance to eat for 6 hours, yes, eat breakfast because you're going to be hungry. But if you can eat at any point in the day, like if you work from home, or you can literally take lunch at work whenever you want, or like there's snacks accessible at work, people worry way too much about breakfast, and it's like, eat when you're hungry. Unless you're one of those people who gets nauseous if you don't eat. But a lot of people get nauseous when they do eat, and then they're still like, oh, I need to eat breakfast. No, you don't. You literally feel sick when you eat breakfast too early in the morning. Don't do it. People get so weird, and it drives me nuts sometimes. But if you prefer eating it, then yes, you should eat it. Yeah, you work from home, so you can eat at any point. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice way to start the day, but you forget. Fair enough, right? Ooh, Canva also has some nice catalog templates, which I'm not looking for right now, but I will be at some point. Okay, I don't need a catalog right now, though. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. What's that song? Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. An error occurred. Retry. I know I might have to try to download this when I'm not streaming, because it is 268 pages, and Canva is like, or my computer or Canva is like, we can't download this. And I'm like, please try again. I would like you to work. Okay, now which one of these do I want? Okay, this one has item, product code, price per 100 pieces. I also want MSRP on there, if possible. Ooh, this one has various sizes and colors, which would be good because I've got paperback and hardcover. So that could be good. That's also a nice layout. It's very simple and clean. It doesn't have a description though. This one actually has too much descriptive detail. It's got like sizes and metal type and style, and that's too many different things. I don't need all that. Let's put these in a folder though. Horizontal one is better, so I can put a little more detail about what the book is. I think I need that. Otherwise, they're just literally judging the book by its cover. Now you do database admin. You sit down, pop open 2 laptops on your PC, and then time disappears. Alright, good luck getting some work done. It was very nice talking with you. Actually, everyone who was in this conversation earlier, it was a good conversation, so You guys are also awesome. Hope you all have an excellent day. Have a good one, Sirconis. Get some good work done. I'll be here for a little bit more. Like I said, I've got to be gone. I've got to be downtown in an hour, so actually I should probably finish the stream up. This will probably be the last work period. I'll do it, and then I'll raid someone, so when this work period ends in 10 minutes. So, that's my timing. Why is there a car alarm blasting?
Yo.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on a break timer, and then we're gonna finish up here because I do have to go downtown. I have to be downtown in an hour, and it takes a while to get there. Yeah, it's still not downloading. Damn it! Okay, I'll have to do it when I'm not doing anything else. go give a raid. We're gonna go. We're looking at JP study time, but we also saw that Sunflower is online, and I didn't think we raided them before. But it's spelled weird. Let's make sure I get it right. Sunflower. Let's go. Alright, thanks everyone who hung out today. I had a good productive day. Some cool conversations about education and other things. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope you had a good time. I hope you chilled and relaxed and got some work done. We'll be back probably tomorrow because I haven't really done any creative streams this week, even though I was doing creative stuff today. It wasn't on screen, so I feel bad about that. So we'll try to do something tomorrow. And what's tomorrow? Friday? Yeah, we'll try to do some planning or bullet journaling or graphic design or art or something tomorrow, and probably some co-working as well. But I do have to go downtown tomorrow to do more bureaucracy stuff, so we'll see. But it should be good. We'll do something tomorrow. We'll stream. We'll be back. We'll be around probably the same time of day. So everyone have an excellent evening, have an excellent day wherever it is, whatever it is where you are. And yeah, like, follow, subscribe. We will see you again in the future. Bye guys.